Hello, fellow book lovers, and YouTube, and Lushies, and whoever else may happen to be watching. So this is going to be a In My Mailbox. I believe there might be one book I've mentioned before, but I'm going to do a separate review on it, so I'm just going to mention it again. These are all books I've gotten from the library. Yay for library hauls. And I know someone else was talking about, actually I think it was Crazy Aunt Pearl on her blog, was talking about purchasing books and liking to have books, and I do too. It's too expensive for me. Like, I can read anywhere from 3 to 4 books a week, and I don't reread books, so unless it's a classic that I might reread, I don't see any need to have it in my collection. I do like having books around, like when I have children I want to be able to read to them, but for now, just unless I really like something so much that I think it's amazing, I'm not going to go out and buy it. So I like supporting the library. That's where my mom used to take me when I was a kid, and we'd go to story time, and I've always loved the library. So anyhow, on to the books. Like I said, I think I might have mentioned this one before. This is The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. This is going to be a television show with Kristen Davis from Sex and the City. This is amazing. I believe everybody should read this, and I'm going to do a review of this in just a minute. So expect to see the same outfit. The next book I got is, got pictures flying out of it. This is called Trumpet by Jackie Kay. I could not get into this. I read maybe the first like 50-60 pages. It was interesting. I didn't like the way the story was written, and I was watching one of Just Kiss My Frog's videos. I'll put her link in the down bar. The down bar. What does YouTube come to? But yeah, this is. It sounded really interesting. It's supposed to be about a musician, Joss Moody, a jazz trumpeter, and basically when he dies, everyone discovers that he's a woman and that his wife has been hiding it all these years. And so you get to hear like kind of how she met him and what the original courting was like. They have a son, which I assume was adopted, I believe. And the son finds out about it later on in life, and it basically jumps from one person's perspective to another. So the wife tells her side, the coroner talks about discovering the body, and it just, I don't know, like, it seemed more like little snippets of the storyline, but mostly it was feelings about what was going on after the death. And I wanted, like, you know, a story like beginning to end type of thing, more about the characters and their romance and their life together, and not just, oh, the coroner found out that Joss was a woman and this is what they thought. And I don't know, I just did not like the way it was written. I couldn't relate to the characters and I couldn't get into it, but I do think it was interesting, just not for me. So there's that. The next book I started reading, and this is due, so I need to take it back. I'll probably check this out at a later date. This is called Poseidon's Steed. It's all about seahorses, and I used to live very close to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and I still go back there maybe once a year. Love, love, love the seahorses. They have a Secret Life of Seahorses exhibit. I think it's still going on. It's been there for a year or two, and they have, I think, 13 or 14 different species of seahorses. So amazing. There's this one called a leafy sea dragon. It looks like a floating plant. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and they're just mesmerizing to watch. That's a picture of the leafy sea dragon. But you can go on Monterey Bay Aquarium's website and check it out. These pictures were all from the Tennessee Aquarium that are in this book. But basically, it's a story of seahorses from myth to reality, and I got maybe 100 pages into it, and like I said, it's due, so I need to take it back. I can't finish it. But I don't generally read nonfiction, so this was really interesting to me. It shows you where seahorses are found, and just a lot of information that I didn't know. If some of you don't know, the male is the only species known that gives birth to the young. So the female deposits her eggs in the male, and he carries the babies and goes into labor and spits them all out, not eggs. So even though seahorses are fish, they have live birth, and the male is the one who carries them and gives birth to them. So pretty crazy. And no, it's not just like the female and they messed up. So I always wondered that. I'm like, well, how do they know that's just not the female? But anyhow, so seahorses, interesting. Poseidon's Steed by Helen Scales, PhD. Next book I read was Charlene Harris. Charlene, Definitely Dead. This is one of the Sookie Stackhouse books. I love these. They're so fun to read. I have the next one waiting at the library right now, so I'm going to go pick that up. But just really fun. I've watched the first 2 seasons of the show. I'm waiting for the rest of them to come out on Netflix, since we don't have HBO. But these are so much better than the True Blood series. Like, I'm not really that into Bill, and these focus a lot more on Eric and other men and supernatural beings, and they have more of a story of, like, surrounding towns and the werewolves and the were-people like Sam and, the next town over, which is a bunch of were-panthers, and I just love the way that everything is described in these. They're just, and they're steamy. I don't know, to me it's like, they can go into more detail with the steamy scenes in a book like this than they can on the show, or I think so. I don't know, but I like this better. So there's that. And then the book I'm reading now, this is so good. This is An Object of Beauty by Steve Martin. This is so well written. I read a little bit the first night, I think the first 2 or 3 chapters, and they're very short chapters. And I'm on chapter 20 now, which is page 90. This is so well written. It talks a lot about artwork, which I'm not, an art buff or an art major, art history person at all. But I have gone to quite a few galleries and museums, especially back in San Francisco in the Bay Area. And it's about this girl, and she is in the art world, in the galleries. She reminds me a little bit of Charlotte from Sex and the City, except not in personality, just in what she pursues. And she basically is working at Sotheby's and trying to work her way up the ladder into making more money. And she runs all over with these paintings, and basically she helps out with the auctions and purchases and stuff like that. And she works her way up from the basement to, like, the Picassos and Matisses and all that kind of stuff. So it's all told from a guy's perspective who went to college with her and who's one of her good friends. And it's beautifully written. I think I might do a little review of this and read you some of it as well when I'm done with it, because I just love it. The next book I got, I have not read yet, and then I have 5 waiting at the library. This is called Tinkers, and it is by Paul Harding, who is a professor writing at Harvard and the University of Iowa. So he lives in Boston. This is his first book, and it won a Pulitzer. And this is about an old man lies dying. As time collapses into memory, he travels deep into his past, where he's reunited with his father and relives the wonder and pain of his impoverished New England youth. At once heartbreaking and life-affirming, Tinkers is a classic something, I can't read under the label, on love, loss, and the fierce beauty of nature. And I think that I was tinkering around on Amazon, and this was one of those books that got recommended because I put something else on my wish list. So I think my wish list has like 10 pages to it now. It's like 400 items or something, and like I said, I just go on there periodically, add stuff that I see in the newspaper, sounds interesting, and then put those things into my library requests as time goes on. There's a new book coming out called The Long Goodbye, about a girl and the loss of her mother, that just sounds amazing and relatable at the moment, which comes out in April, so I'm going to be requesting that from the library ASAP. But anyway, this sounded really good. It's a little tiny book. It's not very long, around 200 pages, and it's little. So I don't know. It was recommended on a couple of different things, and it's a Pulitzer winner, so thought I would give that a read. So that is what was in my mailbox in the last week or two. And I am going to the library either tonight or tomorrow to pick up some of my other books. I basically request stuff, and when it comes in, you have like a 1 week, 1.5 week period to go pick it up. I wait till the last minute. If that means I make 4 trips, the library's only 1.5 miles from my house. Just because if I check something out like on the 13th, I only have 3 weeks to read it, and if anybody else has requested it, I don't get to keep it and renew it. So I try to pick things up as late to the date, since I'm currently reading a book and have one in the queue at home. Who do you care? I don't know if you even care. But yeah, so there you go. If you have questions, or if you'd like a review of anything, let me know. Let me know what you're reading, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.